what I'd like to do is just sort of turn to the question of how do we ask questions about social media? How could we sort of dig in a bit and get some evidence one way or the other about some of these claims that, you know, are online petitions good or bad? Do they, what is the consequence of them? How are they changing? Is social media leading to new kind of democracy, or is it all only the weak tie thing? So there are many different issues we could talk about, but I want to skip ahead to this slide about social informatics. Rob Kling, who was a professor at Indiana, had a classic paper called "What is Social Informatics and Why Does It Matter?" And he had some nice examples in there. One of them, this was written 13 years ago, published 14 years ago. Here was an example. Someone might claim the web means that the public will get better information than ever before. And Kling describes that as a deterministic claim. It's sort of A causes B. The web causes people to get better information. And he says, really, that kind of question is very hard to answer. If you can answer it, it's usually not a very interesting answer. What he says he preferred and argued was for a social informatics approach. And this might change the question to something like, when will the web enable the public to locate, quote, better information? Under what conditions? Who? For what purpose? So here's an example. Let's say we have information on the web about medical information, about diseases and injuries and so on. So we might observe that people are seeking information for different purposes. It might be that some people use that information to make a better choice of doctors, and they develop greater trust in the medical system because of that. Other people might be seeking alternatives to doctor-mediated medical care. They're not looking for doctors at all. And in that case, the consequences of using the web might be quite different. You could say in both cases there's more medical information there, but whether the public is getting better information depends on what you count as better. What Kling argued is that we can actually study things like this, and we can start to say, well, some people use the web in the following ways for medical purposes. Some use it in another way. Some use it in some way we never quite imagined. And that this is a kind of more doable kind of research, and also something that might really inform us about what the web really means. There's a lot to say about information ecology, about how the web doesn't exist separate from our real lives, but is part of a whole system of ways that we find information. So people tend to ask who, what, where, and why questions, and sometimes how questions. And these are more manageable and more something that I think you could actually get evidence to support. So, for example, a who question might be, who's using a particular kind of new media for whatever, organizing, protesting, communication? Who's controlling the use? So who are the people involved? Another kind of thing is what is the role? What are they using it for? Another one might be when. There was a comment, someone made a comment earlier about how social media might be important early on in a movement, in informing people. Other people have argued it's very important at the end. It's actually a way, social media is how we learn about and report on what happened. A when question is something we can study empirically. Another question is where. Where does this network action develop? Does it start offline and then move online? Or does it start online and then move offline? how does that occur within a country or across countries? And then why? How are people reacting? How do they make sense of it? How do these different social forces operate?